Hello dear students, myself Rashmi Tripathi, associated with Rajkumar Goyal Institute of Technology, Ghaziabad. So today I will continue the antihypertensive drugs part 2. Okay. So the next class of the antihypertensives is calcium channel blockers. Okay, calcium channel blockers. So before going to discussing about the calcium channel blockers, we must know what is the role of calcium in increasing the blood pressure. ठीक है, basically calcium is responsible for the contraction. They causes the vasoconstriction. But what is the aim of the therapy? To dilate the vessel. So we must use calcium channel blockers. Okay. Basically L type of voltage sensitive calcium channels are present on heart as well as blood vessels. Okay. There are of two types of calcium channel blockers like dihydropyridine and non-dihydropyridine. Okay. So what is the difference between dihydropyridine and non-dihydropyridine? Dihydropyridine mainly act on the blood vessel. Okay. So if we require the vasodilation, dihydropyridine's calcium channel blockers are preferred. ठीक है, minimal effect show on the heart. Okay. So due to the action on the blood vessels, dihydropyridine are also called peripherally acting calcium channel blockers. Next category is the non-dihydropyridine calcium channel blockers, that are verapamil and deltiazem. Verapamil and deltiazem mainly works on the arteries and heart, means verapamil and deltiazem show the effect on the heart and it causes the depression of the conduction of heart. Okay, means they slow down the cardiac conduction and they also sensitive for the arteries. So, they also cause the vasodilation. Verapamil has the sensitivity for the heart. So, it has direct cardiac depression effect. Okay. So, now come to the detail about the calcium channel blockers. So, first we will discuss the mechanism of action of calcium channel blockers. Okay. So, in general when the depolarization occur, calcium enters within the cell. ठीक, और जब कैल्शियम का लेवल सेल में इंक्रीज हो जाता है तो ये कॉज करता है कॉन्ट्रैक्शन. ओके, सेल कंटेन द कैल्शियम स्टोरेज organelle, that is called the sarcoplasmic reticulum. When the depolarization takes place, voltage gated calcium channel is open and calcium influx is started. Calcium influx is started within the cell, and when the calcium influx occur, the concentration of the calcium ion increases within the cell. This calcium is stored in the sarcoplasmic reticulum as well as it causes the muscle contraction by binding on the troponin and causes sliding filament mechanism. ठीक है, that means हमारा एम क्या है यहाँ पे कि कॉन्ट्रैक्शन को इनिबिट करना है. क्या करना है? कॉन्ट्रैक्शन को इनिबिट करना. दैट मीन्स कैल्शियम के इन्फ्लक्स को सप्रेस करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, कैल्शियम के इन्फ्लक्स को सप्रेस करने के लिए हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा? ये जो कैल्शियम चैनल है इसको ब्लॉक कर दिया जाए तो कैल्शियम का इन्फ्लक्स सप्रेस हो जाएगा. ठीक है, तो वी शुड यूज द कैल्शियम चैनल ब्लॉकर्स. Calcium channel blockers binds on the calcium channel and inhibit the influx of calcium ion. If the influx of calcium ion is inhibited, contraction is also inhibited and dilation takes place. Okay. So, होता क्या है? Calcium channel blockers bind and block the L type calcium channel, and due to the blocking of the L type channel, it decrease the frequency of calcium channel opening and calcium entry into the cardiac and vascular smooth muscle is decreases. Okay, and this caused decreased cardiac contractility, heart rate, and it also decrease the AV conduction velocity and causes the smooth vascular muscle relaxation, or we can say the relaxation of smooth muscles. Okay, this is the mechanism of action of the calcium channel blockers. Okay. Next is the what are the physiological effects of calcium channel blockers. तो आपने देखा कि कैल्शियम चैनल ब्लॉकर क्या कर रहे हैं, कैल्शियम की एंट्री को इनिबिट करते हैं जिसकी वजह से कॉन्ट्रैक्शन नहीं होता है. दैट मीन्स कैल्शियम चैनल ब्लॉकर्स कॉजेज द स्मूथ मसल रिलैक्सेशन. ओके, इफ दे एक्ट ऑन द कोरोनरी आर्टरी दे कॉजेज द vasodilation of the coronary artery, and when the vasodilation takes place improve the blood flow. Second, it causes the vasodilation. If the vessels are dilated, they decrease the afterload, and when the afterload is decreased, cardiac workload is also decreased, and due to the vasodilation blood pressure is reduced. Okay. Calcium channel blockers also causes the relaxation of GI tract. If the GI tract is relaxed, if the peristalsis of the GIT is relaxed, constipation takes place. So, this is the major adverse effect of the calcium channel blockers, that constipation takes place. Next is the bronchodilation. It causes the dilation of bronchiole, okay, and uterine relaxation. Calcium channel blockers also relax the uterus. Next, come to the uses of calcium channel blockers. The first use is angina pectoris. ठीक, तो all type of calcium channel blockers are used in angina pectoris, because होता क्या angina pectoris में, chest pain होता है. किसकी वजह से होता है, मायोकार्डियल इस्कीमिया की वजह से होता है. ठीक है, ब्लड फ्लो की अगर सफिशिएंट सप्लाई नहीं है तो उसकी वजह से पेन प्रोड्यूस हो जाता है इन द चेस्ट. सेकेंड इज हाइपरटेंशन. हाइपरटेंशन में आप डाईहाइड्रोपिरिडिन कैल्शियम चैनल ब्लॉकर्स भी यूज़ कर सकते हैं और डेल्टियाजैम एंड वेरापामिल भी यूज़ कर सकते हैं. Basically, in hypertension, we preferred dihydropyridine type of calcium channel blockers. Next is cardiac arrhythmia. We can use verapamil and deltiazem in the cardiac arrhythmia because calcium channel blockers suppress the conduction, AV conduction or heart conduction. So, we can use the calcium channel blockers in cardiac arrhythmia. Okay. Next, they also used in the hypertrophic cardiomyopathy because verapamil show the negative inotropic effect. That means, they decrease the heart contractility. So, we can use in hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Next is premature labor. They also used in the premature labor because in the previous slide we have seen that they causes the uterine relaxation. और अगर premature labor की condition है, so we can use the calcium channel blocker to delay the labor. Okay, so we can use in the premature labor because it relax the uterus. Next is Raynaud disease. Raynaud disease is a phenomena in which small arteries of fingers and toes are constricted. Okay, this is the phenomena called Raynaud phenomena. So, we can use in Raynaud phenomena dihydropyridine. So, we can start the adverse effect of the calcium channel blockers. Okay. So, the adverse effect of the calcium channel blockers is peripheral edema. Okay, peripheral edema. Peripheral edema is due to the vasodilation. If the vasodilation takes place, permeability of the blood enhanced, and due to the enhanced in the permeability of the blood vessel, edema takes place. And next is the headache, flushing, dizziness. These all are due to the vasodilation. Next is the constipation because calcium channel blockers inhibit the motility of the GIT, so the constipation takes place. Okay. Now, we discuss the contraindication of the calcium channel blockers. These are contraindicated in the heart failure patient because calcium channel blockers reduce the contractility, and in the heart failure patient already heart has the reduced contractility. Okay. So, in the heart failure we cannot use the calcium channel blocker. Next is bradycardia. Bradycardia, especially verapamil and diltiazem cannot be used in bradycardia, and if especially these are combined with the beta blockers, because beta blockers also cause the bradycardia, and if they are combined with the calcium channel blockers, then the severe bradycardia takes place. Next is sympathetic inhibitor. Due to the sympathetic stimulation, blood pressure is increased. So, we must use sympathetic inhibitor to suppress the sympathetic outflow or sympathetic overactivity. Okay. So, we see the mechanism of action of the sympathetic inhibitor. First category is the beta blocker. So, beta blocker reduce the blood pressure by decreasing कार्डियक आउटपुट. ओके, ये ब्लड प्रेशर कैसे रिड्यूस करते हैं, क्योंकि ये कार्डियक आउटपुट को कम कर देते हैं. होता क्या है, व्हेन वी यूज्ड बीटा ब्लॉकर्स suppress the activation of the beta receptor that are present on the heart, and if the inactivation of the beta receptor takes place, they causes the decreased cardiac output. Okay. And second thing, the beta blockers or sympathetic inhibitor also causes the decreased release of renin. They decrease the release of renin. If the renin is released, you say that angiotensin II level is also reduced, and if the angiotensin II level is reduced, vasodilation takes place, and due to that peripheral resistance is also decreased, and if CO is decreased, peripheral resistance is decreased, blood pressure is also reduced. Okay. And साथ ही क्या होता है, एंजियोटेंसिन 2 एल्डोस्टेरोन सिक्रीशन को भी सप्रेस कर देता है. ठीक है. एंड व्हेन द एल्डोस्टेरोन सिक्रीशन इज सप्रेस्ड, सोडियम वाटर रिटेंशन inhibited, and when the sodium water retention inhibited, that means they excrete out the sodium and water from the body, they decrease the blood volume, and if the blood volume is decreased, cardiac output is decreased, and result is reduced blood pressure. So, first category beta blockers, we used propranolol, metoprolol and atenolol. So, what is the mechanism of action? Basically, due to the blockade of beta blockers, following events takes place. First, they decrease the myocardial contractility. If they decrease the myocardial contractility, cardiac output is reduced. Okay. Second, beta blockers also reduce the release of renin. दे रिड्यूस द रेनिन रिलीज. अगर रेनिन रिलीज को ये रिड्यूस कर देंगे तो रैस सिस्टम इनिबिट हो जाएगा, एंड ड्यू टू द इनिबिशन ऑफ रैस सिस्टम, सोडियम एंड वाटर रिटेंशन इज ऑल्सो रिड्यूस्ड. ड्यू टू दैट ब्लड वॉल्यूम इज रिड्यूस्ड एंड BP इज ऑल्सो reduced. Okay. Nebivolol is a selective beta 1 receptor blocker. They increase the production of nitric oxide, and nitric oxide causes the vasodilation. Okay. So, overall we inhibit the sympathetic activity to suppress the blood pressure or to normalize the blood pressure. So, what are the uses of the beta blockers? These are mainly used in the arrhythmia and angina because they decrease the contractility or heart rate. These are given with other antihypertensive that produce the tachycardia. ऐसे हाइपरटेंसिव ड्रग्स जो कि टैकीकार्डिया प्रोड्यूस करते हैं, उसके साथ में भी हम बीटा ब्लॉकर्स को दे सकते हैं, बिकॉज बीटा ब्लॉकर्स आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू रिड्यूस द हार्ट रेट. ओके. Next is beta blockers. Adverse effect of the beta blockers: hypotension, bradycardia, okay, because they decrease the heart rate, fatigue, insomnia, proper sleep ना होना, improper sleep होना, sexual dysfunction and coronary artery disease. What are the contraindication of the beta blocker? If we used non-selective beta blockers, अगर हम नॉन सेलेक्टिव बीटा ब्लॉकर्स लाइक प्रोपेनोलॉल यूज़ कर रहे हैं तो आप अस्थमैटिक पेशेंट और डायबिटिक पेशेंट में वो नहीं दे सकते, बिकॉज बीटा ब्लॉकर्स कॉजेज द ब्रोंकोकॉन्स्ट्रिक्शन and in asthmatic patient already constriction takes place, so severe constriction occur, asthmatic attack may takes place. And diabetic में भी use नहीं कर सकते because beta blockers inhibit glycogenolysis and causes the severe hypoglycemia, and they also mask the symptoms of the hypoglycemia like tachycardia, palpitation. So symptoms cannot be identified due to the use of beta blockers. Second, should be used cautiously in the heart failure patient because they reduce the contractility, and in the heart failure patient contractility of the heart is already reduced. So we used cautiously in the heart failure patient. Next is the alpha blockers. Alpha blockers like prazosin, alpha 1 antagonist है ये. Basically it blocks the sympathetic mediated vasoconstriction and produce fall in BP. करता कैसे है काम? It increase the concentration of cyclic AMP. कैसे? Prazosin inhibit the phosphodiesterase, and phosphodiesterase is an enzyme that hydrolyze the cyclic AMP. ठीक है, तो जो प्राजोसिन है वो फॉस्फोडाइस्ट्रेज को इनहिबिट कर देता है, जिसकी वजह से साइक्लिक एएमपी का लेवल बढ़ जाता है, एंड साइक्लिक एएमपी इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द वैसोडाइलेशन. व्हाट आर द एडवर्स इफेक्ट ऑफ द प्राजोसिन आर postural hypotension, nasal blockade, rashes, headache, drowsiness, weakness, palpitation, dry mouth. They also cause impaired ejaculation and they precipitate the congestive heart failure. Next usage is hypertension, renal disease, benign hypertrophy of prostate because they improve the urine flow and given with diuretics and beta blockers. Next is alpha plus beta blockers. These are carbidiolol and labetalol. Basically they reduce the total peripheral resistance. Okay, if the total peripheral resistance is reduced, blood pressure is also reduced. Uses of alpha plus beta blockers mainly in the hypochromocytoma and hypertensive emergency. Hypochromocytoma is a tumor, excessive hormone producing tumor of the adrenal gland that increase the secretion of epinephrine and norepinephrine that causes the high blood pressure and also use the hypertensive emergency. Next is the clonidine. Clonidine is a partial agonist, okay, and clonidine bind and stimulate to alpha 2 receptor. Suppose this is the presynaptic neuron and this is the postsynaptic neuron. Norepinephrine is formed in the presynaptic neuron and released in the synaptic cleft and bind with the corresponding receptor. Alpha 2 receptor is present in the presynaptic neuron. Clonidine binds on the alpha 2 receptor. This is called autoreceptor and inhibit the release of norepinephrine. और जब नॉरएपिनेफ्रिन का रिलीज इनहिबिट हो जाएगा तो ब्लड प्रेशर भी आपका नॉर्मलाइज हो जाएगा. यूजेज बेसिकली दीज आर यूज्ड इन द मॉडरेट हाइपरटेंशन एंड डायबिटिक neuropathy. What are the adverse effect of the clonidine? The adverse effect of the clonidine are sedation, dry mouth, constipation, bradycardia, postural hypertension and mental confusion. Next is methyl dopa. Methyl dopa act like clonidine. Okay. Adverse effects are sedation, dry mouth, nightmares, depression and vertigo, and uses are used with diuretics. Next are vasodilator. As the term indicates, these agents dilate the vessel. So, when we used vasodilator, they relax the vascular smooth muscle, and due to the relaxation of the vascular smooth muscle, they decrease the peripheral resistance and decrease the blood pressure. Okay? But what are the consequences of the use of the vasodilator? They also cause the सोडियम एंड वाटर रिटेंशन एंड टैकीकार्डिया एज अ कॉम्पनसेटरी मैकेनिज्म, क्योंकि जब वैसोडाइलेटर यूज़ करते हैं तो वेसल्स की परमेबिलिटी इन्हांस हो जाती है, जिसकी वजह से सोडियम एंड वाटर रिटेंशन होता है. ओके. हाइड्रोलाजीन इज अ डायरेक्टली एक्टिंग वैसोडाइलेटर. ठीक. These are used with diuretic or beta blocker when hypertension is not controlled by the first line category. this can be used in the pregnancy. Okay, it can be used with nitrates in hypertensive with cardiac failure. अगर पेशेंट में कार्डियक फेलियर की भी प्रॉब्लम है तो उस कंडीशन में आप vasodilator hydrolazine use करेंगे. What are the contraindication? These are contraindicated in the ischemic heart disease. Next is adverse effect of the vasodilator hydrolazine. ठीक, the adverse effect are headache, dizziness, flushing, palpitation. These all are due to the dilation of the vessels. Nausea, anorexia, hypotension, salt and water retention, lupus erythematosus, rashes, redness unelective phase में, rheumatoid arthritis are common with slow acetylator because this is metabolized by the acetylation process. Next vasodilator is minoxidil. Minoxidil is a powerful vasodilator. Okay, what is the mechanism of action of the minoxidil? They causes the opening of the potassium channel, and due to the opening of the potassium channel, hyperpolarization takes place and that leads to the smooth muscle relaxation. One more important function of the minoxidil, they increase the blood circulation in the hair follicle. So, they increase the hair growth. So, what are the uses of the minoxidil? Used in the hypertension as you see, and it also used in the baldness because they enhance the growth of hair. Okay. What is the adverse effect of the minoxidil? Hirsutism, edema, headache, dizziness, palpitation, itching, burning sensation. Hirsutism means excessive growth of the hair in female face or face and body. Next vasodilator is sodium nitroprusside. Sodium nitroprusside relax both arteriole and venule, and when they relax both arteriole and venule, they reduce the preload as well as they reduce the afterload. Okay, but it decompose on exposure of light. ठीक है, लाइट के एक्सपोजर पे ये डिकम्पोज हो जाते हैं, इसलिए फ्रेश सोल्यूशन बनाना पड़ता है सोडियम नाइट्रोप्रोसाइड का फॉर द एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. What is the mechanism of action of the sodium nitroprusside? Sodium nitroprusside generate the nitric oxide, and nitric oxide activate the guanylyl cyclase enzyme. Okay, and guanylyl cyclase is responsible for the hydrolysis of the GTP into cyclic GMP, and the role of the cyclic GMP is the vasodilation, and if the vasodilation occur, BP is normalized or decreased BP. So, basically sodium nitroprusside is used in the hypertensive crisis condition and to improve the cardiac output in the congestive heart failure. Next, adverse effect of the sodium nitroprusside. In higher dose, it is converted into the cyanide and thiocyanide and cause nausea, anorexia and weakness. Palpitation, nervousness, vomiting are also associated with the vasodilation. They also cause the severe hypotension. Next is treatment of hypertension. तो बेसिकली दो अप्रोचेज हैं फॉर द ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ द हाइपरटेंशन, नॉन फार्माकोलॉजिकल एंड फार्माकोलॉजिकल. नॉन फार्माकोलॉजिकल अप्रोचेज आर lifestyle modification, we can control it by the diet, weight reduction and adequate exercise. These are the non pharmacological approaches. Next is the pharmacological approaches. In the pharmacological approaches, we can use stepped care approach and combination therapy. Stepped care approach is when we use single drug, when we start the therapy with the single drug to control the hypertension. That means initially हम one drug से treatment को start करते हैं to control the blood pressure. Okay, and when due to the use of single dose, if blood pressure is not controlled, then we go for the combination therapy. But near about 50% of the patient are treated with the single drug. Okay, but if they are not controlled by the single drug, we used add-on therapy. Okay. So, these are the guidelines for the treatment of hypertension recommended by National Institute for Health and Care Excellence. Okay. So, if the patient is less than 55 year, ठीक है, that means young patient अगर है और अगर patient old patient है, that means greater than the 55. If patient is less than 55, we start the treatment with the ACE inhibitor and angiotensin receptor blocker. ठीक है, बट अगर 55 से अबव है पेशेंट तो उस कंडीशन में हम कैल्शियम चैनल ब्लॉकर से स्टार्ट करेंगे. बट JNC रिकमेंडेड दैट वी यूज्ड फर्स्टली थायजाइड डायूरेटिक. बट थायजाइड के साथ क्या है कि अगर आप लो डोज में भी थायजाइड स्टार्ट करते हैं तो वो एडवर्स इफेक्ट प्रोड्यूस करता है. ठीक है, सो वी कैन यूज ACE इनहिबिटर in less than 55 years old patient and calcium channel blockers greater than 55 years old patient. ठीक, but if the patient cannot tolerate the adverse effect of the calcium channel blockers, we used diuretics. ठीक है, step 2, if we cannot obtain the required blood pressure, we go for add-on therapy. हम यहाँ पे एक ड्रग और ऐड कर देते हैं, दैट मीन्स कैल्शियम चैनल ब्लॉकर और डायूरेटिक. ठीक है, अगर इस दो ड्रग यूज़ करने के बाद भी ब्लड प्रेशर कंट्रोल नहीं होता है तब आप तीनों फर्स्ट लाइन एंटी हाइपरटेंसिव ड्रग यूज़ करते हैं, लाइक ACE इनहिबिटर, एंजियोटेंसिन रिसेप्टर ब्लॉकर, कैल्शियम चैनल ब्लॉकर एंड डायूरेटिक. अगर इसके बाद भी ब्लड प्रेशर आपका कंट्रोल नहीं होता है, that type of blood pressure is called resistant hypertension, and you add with these three drug, aldosterone antagonist or thiazide, high dose of the thiazide or beta blockers and alpha 1 blockers. Okay. Next come to the antihypertensive emergency and urgency. In both condition the systolic BP is more than 220 and diastolic BP is more than 120, but in emergency condition target organ damage occur. Following drugs are used in the emergency condition. These are the listing of drugs that can be used in pregnancy or avoided in the pregnancy. Following drugs are avoided in the pregnancy like ACE inhibitor, diuretics, non-selective beta blockers and sodium nitroprusside, because ACE inhibitor causes the fetal damage, so we cannot use the ACE inhibitor. Next, antihypertensive that are safer during the pregnancy. The majority of the patient respond well for the labetalol. Okay, and next category is the nifedipine and methyl dopa and hydralazine. These are the drugs that can be safer in the pregnancy. These are the references for the further reading of the student. Thank you so much. Keep learning.